This is the story of a boy who wished to go to space. My interest in space was established early on in childhood. This was due to my late grandmother, Antonius Drosera, who was a pioneer in space exploration. Even though she passed away shortly before I was born, I wanted to be just like her. Luckily, my parents were very supportive of this dream. Every night before bedtime, they would tell me stories about my late grandmother, reading me journal entries and showing me cassette tapes of her adventures. I was so inspired by her that I even made a time capsule for whenever I'd go to space. And on my 10th birthday, my parents gave me a letter addressed to me from my grandma. The answer to me reading this letter was clear. I needed to go to space to see what my grandmother saw. Of course, financially speaking, this was easier said than done. So in high school, I did what any normal teenager would have done and joined the mafia. Not only for extra money, but also because the underground market happens to sell a lot of machine parts for cheap. After 5 painstaking years, I finally accumulated enough parts to make the Kismet, the kinetic intergalactic space mobile for extraterrestrial traverse. I eagerly took my first trip into space, excited for what discoveries that I would make. But I was too naive. During this mission, I made a crucial error, and the ship fell out of orbit. I lost consciousness soon after. When I came to, I was locked up in a strange futuristic laboratory. Not long after, I realized I was being surrounded by strange figures who could speak to me telepathically. They claimed they had saved me from death and that they could send me back to Earth, but there was a catch. We would exchange eyes, my human eyes for their alien cybernetic ones. I agreed reluctantly, knowing that I didn't have the bodily autonomy to refuse. The anguish that I experienced was indescribable, and psychologically, the trauma I endured would leave a lasting impression. Pieces of my body had been ripped out and replaced with foreign objects, and I was born anew. The aliens kept their word and I was able to return to Earth, but not without significant damage to my body, my mind, and my spaceship. My first expedition to space was a complete failure, and I lost complete confidence in myself. I felt like everything that I worked for in my life was for nothing. I laid low for the next couple of years, trying to understand the strange power that seemed to be hidden behind my cybernetic eyes. I stopped going outside because I had heard so many people talking about my eyes, and it led to a deep, dark depression. I continued raising ranks in the mafia, afraid that I would never be able to go to space again. That was until that day. I met a small river otter named Zhao Dojo, but I would come to know him better as Garbanzo. He was being taken care of by an elderly woman in China after a strange incident involving a meteorite separated him from his family. To my shock, the little guy was a genius in engineering, and he wanted to rebuild my spacecraft. He was even able to uncover some of the mysteries surrounding my new cybernetic eyes. Before I knew it, the Kismet 2 had been created. Together, we managed to go further into space on every mission we embarked on, until eventually we surpassed the initial mission's distance. But I realized after spending all this time in space, I was starting to neglect my duties as a mafioso on Earth, and I would need some subordinates to help me. And so I began to recruit members for my own organized crime family. We became a vigilante organization who protected the innocent, called Prisma. My name is Antonius Drosera, the captain of Prisma. And this is the story of the boy who went to space. But sometimes I still wonder whatever became of my eyes that I left on that alien planet.
Subterfuge. The transition has been executed.
Very well then. So this is what it's like to see through a human's eyes. I can't wait to have the sensation of other human parts as well. When I rip them from his body.